His dungeon dank, his stairs unsafe, his manacles, your wrists, they chafe. His... Fluder, maybe the tale shouldn't have 10 stanzas describing the castle before I actually go in there. Excellent note, lad. Forgive me, I found myself unexpectedly swept up in the rhapsodic symphonious throes of the song form. Oh, are you alright? That sounds like it hurts. Or is at least rather difficult to spell. As I was saying, the valiant Taran braved the Horned King's castle and freed Henwen. Hooray! Only to be captured himself and locked away in a dark and foreboding dungeon cell. Oh no! And yet his despair was short-lived, for he was freed from his captivity by the brave and resourceful Princess Ailonwi. Hooray! Oh, wait, I was there for that part. I offer a somewhat less surprised hooray then. Let's tell of Taran in the Horned King's castle. Daring duo crept through the dank underbelly of the Horned King's castle, seeking a stealthy egress, and who perchance did they happen upon? None other than a ballader to the grandest courts, the bard Fluder Flem, who did not need rescuing as he had just broken free of his chains and was heroically skirmishing with the Horned Kings. Fluder? Your harp just unstringed itself. Which always seems to happen when you exaggerate. Now, Fluder, no fibbing. You did say you wanted to commemorate our adventures accurately, didn't you? For posterity. Well, I'm not sure I used those specific words, but a certain degree of poetical liberty will only serve to benefit the... Yes, I'll restring my harp and tell it again properly. Let's tell of Taran in the castle again. When who perchance did they happen upon? None other than that ballader par excellence, the inimitable Fluder Flem, who spent the majority of the next quarter hour yelling for his life and running away from a very angry guard dog. There, Fluder. I may not have seen all of that myself, but I'm sure you were running away very bravely. Very charitable of you, my boy. Thank you kindly. Phew. At least his harp doesn't break when I'm the one exaggerating. Wait a moment. Didn't you say this part of the ballad was supposed to be about me escaping from the castle? It's fine if you want to change that, of course. It's just... there's been 3 stanzas already of you running away. Ah, well spotted, Taran. I'm getting to your bit now. To be specific... your astounding realization that your new sword, which you had just liberated from a tomb beneath the castle, was magical. Tell of Taran wielding a sword. Yes, exactly. And then I said, "Hiya!" and struck at the particle's chain like this. Hiya! Yes, very evocative, Taran, but I think I might be full upon inspiration for the moment. Oh, well, I'll just keep swinging it around over there for myself. It's a very good replica. I'm not planning on slaying any quiet taints with it. It's just fun, is all. The three companions had successfully made their escape from the Horned King's castle. And met Gurgi, he companion too. Yes, quite right, Gurgi, but their adventure was far from complete. For in their ongoing quest to find Henwen and safeguard her from the forces of evil, they would face many perils to come. That still of Taran, tested by fate. And after locating Henwen in the land of the fair folk, an adventure in its own right, to be sure. Well, a number of other events transpired, at the end of which Taran traded his sword for the Black Cauldron. Hang on, events transpired? Fluder, you just skipped over half of the... Yes, the legendary Black Cauldron, object of all the Horned King's sinister desires. Oh, what a foreboding relic it was. Fluder, are you even listening? But then, horror of horrors, our heroes were recaptured by the Horned King's forces. Fluder? And the Black Cauldron as well, installed in the Horned King's hall by his guards, its vile magics waiting to be unleashed. Fluder? Our heroes, bound and powerless, could only watch as the evil king crowed over his impending triumph. Fluder! All us friends yelling at you! Yes, hold on a moment, Gurgi. I just have to finish up this last line. That still of Taran, trapped in the Horned King's castle. And there. Now you were saying... We're saying that you left out half the story. Like Dolly of the Fairfolk taking us to the marshes of Morva. Yes, and bargaining with the three witches there to trade us the cauldron in exchange for Taran's sword. Yeah, and also things Gurgi do then. Gurgi likes to hear about Gurgi things. all very good points. Would you believe me if I said this was merely a preliminary sketch? I'm not sure, Fluder, but I wonder what your harp thinks. You're right, I admit, I did exclude our sojourn into the marshes of Morva from the tale. But only because I spent a large part of that day being turned into a frog and back by a most frustrating trio of witches. Altogether, a most humiliating experience. Can you blame me for not wishing to immortalize it in song? Well, I understand how you feel, Fluder. I'm not proud of that day either. I was much too reluctant to trade away my sword. But it really is an important part of the story, and I think it's worth telling. Here, let me try to inspire you again. That sent Taran to bring on the inspiration. And then the witch's cottage flew off into the sky like this, and the Black Cauldron came up from underground like this. Does that make sense? I'd use my sword to point instead of a stick, but I'd already traded away the real sword by then, so... Were you saying something? I was just finishing a couplet describing Arthur's hair color as it's crucial to the scene. I thought I was rather good. Perhaps I should consider being a bard. But Cauldron gained, our heroes learned. There was a trick to what they'd earned. To break the cauldron and end its strife, one must climb in and lose their life. And I believe that brings us up to where we were before. Now, may I return to when the Horned King's forces recaptured us? Yeah, and thank you for not singing so loud about when Gurgi ran away. Remember, Gurgi, very sorry he did that. tell of Taran in the Horned King's castle again. Our heroes, bound and powerless, could only watch as the evil king crowed over his impending triumph. I wish we didn't have to remember this part. And then... Yes, Fluder? And then... just hold on a moment, I've completely lost my place. Oh, perhaps we shouldn't have made him add that part about Marva. It is a bit distracting. It's not that I'm entirely at sea, you understand. I have several very promising monologues composed for the Horned King. Very little troubled with that bit. In fact, it's just going back and forth with the story. My thoughts got jumbled and... Ah, here we go. Let's welcome the Horned King.